Oh, yellow. Meow. Welcome back from ads. We're going to do some more town to city today. And so last time we ended, we were trying to figure out the layout for the little Christmas town. And I think I figured out something I like. But I'm having second thoughts. So I'm not really sure. I might still change the road layout. But I did a little road layout. I did a practice run. And I thought I liked the setup I did, but I'm already kind of second guessing it at the moment. So I'm not really sure. But let's take a look together. Meow. So I know I want to do like a town circle and have businesses around it with a tree in the middle. But this road right here, I'm not sure about because connecting it up here is like weird right now. So I'm thinking maybe I should just run a road this way along. Like instead of this being the front of the circle, maybe the front of the circle should be like over here and have this road coming at it. Maybe that would be better, and then we could have another one coming off this way. But I can't with this for now. But let's test the other way and see how it looks. I can push play on this again. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this road. Oh no! I'm sorry, I stole your road. I hope she can find her way back to wherever she's going. Okay. So instead, what if it's like here? Why do I want to put the laundry at the end? Because it's a big building. And I thought putting it at the end of the circle might be good. If I like put it like here. And then the circle goes in front of it. Snow. And then we run the road this way. And the other one runs across here, I guess. Dream of snow. Oh no, Wookiee's angry. Meow. What? What's up, kitty? She's coming here making all kinds of noise. Like a stinker. Okay. Now to figure out hook this road up. This one will just go like this. Just a one thing in the snow. I don't need expensive things. What's the matter? What's the matter, Mauer? Are you trapped? The door shut. Darn it. He came in and the door shut behind her and she was trapped. She did not like that. Alright, and then I just want to curve this around. Like that. It's kind of ugly, but it'll work for now. Maybe this one I should put another like circle thing at the end for the transition. I don't need. They don't matter to me. And then just have it go like that. Dream come true, Santa can't bring me. Should have done that down here too, actually. Do 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 do. Expensive things, they don't matter to me. And then this can come off here. That's a little better, I think. All right. Some caroling. So this will go here. And then I want to fill this up with town things. Let's finish building our little avenue first, though. Do 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 do. We'll do the roads across as we go. And then we'll decorate the avenue part last. Cute. All right. We're getting somewhere. All right, so what else should we put in here? We could put one of these in the middle. No, I want to put... a Christmas tree there. So we'll do... Let's do a butcher and a bistro. Maybe like this. I just feel like there's so much wasted space back here. We're gonna need a warehouse up here too, probably. I'll put that there for now. Maybe I should do a road off here and put things there. Let's move this. We'll do a little experiment. I'm gonna use the round one so I don't have to worry about what direction it's facing. Maybe something like that. And then, does this fit in here? Yeah, that's a better use of the space, I think. And then, is there something tiny I can put there? Does this fit here? No. That almost fits. Not quite. All right, and then on this side, let's do... So we need luxury points. Let's do a dressmaker. Hallelujah. You put this right next door. So 2, 4, 8, 11. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We put a clock right here. That'd be cool. Let's put the clockmaker there because it looks sick. And then I wanted to put a bistro. I knew you. It's not a victory march. Hallelujah. All right. And get these guys connected up. Somebody torture you. And then we got our Christmas trees. Aw, cute. All right, so we got our little town square going on here. I think we have enough luxury points now. We just need to tuck in a warehouse. Ooh, maybe we should put an animal shelter up here too, actually. Oh, I can only have one? Oh, okay. Never mind. They only get those in Fabric, I guess. Oh no, it said sold out because I had it. Oh, I see. I don't even know if it fits over here. Dang, it doesn't. So, you know, people here might want to adopt some aminos. A lot for Christmas. And we'll put the warehouse over here. Underneath the Christmas tree. Like that. And then I guess we'll start figuring out neighborhoods. I think there'll be like a town park back here. Behind the clock. That would be cool. All right, let's do some these artisan homes that look like townhouses. Look at them. They're so cute. Hoping I can squeeze two into here. Make them look like row homes. All I want for Christmas. Maybe I should do like a road across this way. Oh, it's not connected. My bad. Ooh, baby. All right, and these are not working for some reason. Hmm. I wonder if I need to wiggle them. Do I need to wiggle you? Or just because there's nobody living up here? For Christmas is you. Oh, we didn't put any entertainment. Entertainment. Maybe we should put another pub up here. By the water. Oh, it's actually the perfect spot for it. We'll put that there. What else could we put up here? Right on the lake. Okay, I think maybe just because we need some residents. Along this way. Put some more of these here. Okay, they're starting to get their fancy needs met now. These houses are so cute. Oh, I can move this one a little closer, I think. And some mistletoe. So cute. I love them. Let's go ahead and just upgrade them all. Cute. What does this mean? Oh, well, we're gonna get there in a minute. All right, so we have all these cute new Christmas things. This little one becomes like a wreath. So cute. And then I think if you put it on the windows, yeah, it can become a garland or these cute candles. Love that. So I think we'll go around with these. Just kind of do it random. And then there's like snow piles right here. You know, like there's like snow on the porch. So cute. There's no like snowy bushes though. We can pretend. There's just these little trees that kind of look like a holly bush. Maybe I'll just use those. But I want to use specifically the ones that look like little holly trees. Looks like a little holly bush. So cute. Somehow. The snowy tree. All right, and then we need some lighting. All right, now for these townhouses. The most. Oh, we need to do lighting out front too. I'm gonna use these ones. Time of the year. When friends come to call. Marshmallows for toasting. All right, then we're back to our holiday tree. Some of them do. Oh. Oh, it's like a mistletoe. That's cute. It's like a little hanging down garland. It's cute. I'm gonna put you here and you'll take any, so. All right, we're getting somewhere. Bum, bum, bum. These big trees do anything on the houses? No. What about any of the other Christmas stuff? There's a sled. Maybe I should do building decorations. Presents? What does a present do? Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Wait, it's like little stockings. I don't know why they'd hang them outside their house, but they're adorable. Do they all do something random? Oh, they're all the same. That's cute though. Wait, stumps do something on houses? Oh. I didn't know that was a thing. Wait, that's kind of cool. All right. Lights. Oh, ooh. Sorry. That was dizzying. Okay. Super cute. All right, now we need some wintry trees. Oh, those are all the same. Well, that's no fun. All right, and then I'll put a couple more back here of these, and then there'll also be some of these. Ba-ba. Ba-da-da. Yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo. I think we need a bench over here. Looks like a good place for a bench. It's grand, just holding your hand. I go to water decorations. What does the snow do? It's like ice. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. It's too many that look the same right next to each other. You know, I could put rocks in the water too. First time I together with you. That's so cute. I didn't know I could put the stones on the ponds like that. Alright, ducks. I'm gonna make this road come across. So it breaks it up a bit. All right, trees. Oh, you know what? Let's decorate the businesses. Meow. Live leads. Mom. Cute. Put the candles here. Those bag ones are weird because they're kind of on a balcony, so it's not really like doing the right thing. If we put a little tree up here though. Candles. Feeling of Christmas. You here? Oh shoot. Silver bells. Oh. It's being goofy. We'll just do that then. All right, now the clock. Red and green. Ugh. It's so picky. Ring-a-ling, ring-a-ling. A little mistletoe. Silver bells. Cute. Okay, I think everybody's pretty much decorated now. Ugh, we need more regular townsfolk. Hear them ring. So maybe. Oh! Hi, Red. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, fun guy. Stinky raid. Oh, no, not stinky raid. Can't be having no stinky raids. Hi, everybody. We're building a Christmas town. That may be a little loud. Oh. I think I got turned up because before somebody told me it was too quiet. You know what? I don't think we have a red house. No. We don't have a red house yet. Let's get a red one. We also don't have an orange one. We need variety so that we can just use the grabber. And grab them up in the future. It was too quiet before. Oh, okay. This game looks great. I love the first one. Yeah, I also love their first game. It's so cute. And now it's forever quiet because I'm deaf now. Oh, my bad. Okay, I won't bother to turn it down then. I think the problem was I turned it up in more than one place. So now it's just super loud. But look at our cute little Christmas town we're building. We're still decorating and stuff, but I need more people for jobs. I have too many jobs and not enough people. Mr. Grinch. How was your stream though, Red? Were you playing more Wizard? Wizard. You're a wizard, Red. Best wizard? Oh my god. Mr. Grinch. He got you back into it? Games are contagious like that. When your friends get into games and then you're like, oh yeah, I miss playing that game too. Now I kind of want to play. And then you start playing it again. Or for the first time. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. You know, these guys' little pathways. Here we go. All right. Yes, we need more non-artisan citizens to work in all the places. So basically, we're just going to build a neighborhood around this pond, and that'll be our little Christmas area. Stink. And then along here, we'll do some triz. I never played Wizard 101. I never even really heard of it until I was much older. Of course, I never really got into MMO games in general. So, all right, we need to create some little like seating areas, little courtyards and whatnot. Maybe we'll do one here. There's ads. And ancient rhymes. Do I have a little fountain? Wow, that fountain is still huge. I want a teeny tiny one. Actually, I guess this is okay. Put a little fountain. Some benches. That's cute. It's like cute little areas like that make it feel more, you know, realistic and stuff. We should do some more trees around too. Richard Cheese. Do you guys know who Richard Cheese is? There's a cheat right before ads started. Oh no. Is here. How do I... Aw, it's not gonna fit. Fireside. And there. Mm-hmm. I wish the Christmas tree actually lit up, but I don't think it does. Okay, why is it jumping up there? That's silly. Ding dong ding. Alright, I think that's all lit up pretty good. Need some more lighting back in here. By the dressmaker. We got the butcher. Need some lights. Okay. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty cute. Mistletoe hung where you can see. And then I should probably get rid of these trees. Oh, Siribot got them. Kind of want to keep the rocks because I just don't see those much. Maybe over here we'll have like a little park. Maybe there's a sled. I forgot about this stuff. That's so cute. Oh wait, somewhere there's a snowman. Where's he at? There he is. Look at how cute he is. Hi, snowman. Some of you guys could have some snowmen between your houses. I forgot I've been paused this whole time. Crazy. I must have hit a button that paused it. I don't know what the shortcut is. It smells barbecue. I swear it never fails. Cute. The little snowmen are so cute. These little signs. Never get it under your nails. Well, has work been festive lately? I imagine you're doing some holiday nails. I actually haven't worked in like 5 days right now, which is crazy. On Friday, so normally every 2 weeks I have 4 days off in a row. It's just the way my schedule works out. But Friday I put my car in the little ditch at the end of my driveway by accident. So I had to miss work that day until Babe came home and pulled me out with his 4x4 truck. So I missed work Friday. So that was kind of crappy, but the next few days, tomorrow I go back to work and I am incredibly swamped and busy. I don't know how many of those people are going to actually get nail art. Most of them don't usually. Because most of my clients are older ladies that don't get nail art. So we'll see. I hope I get some more fun Christmas nail art though. All right, let's do another little neighborhood. Actually, I have plenty of places for people to live right now. Also, I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing up here. I've been too busy paying attention to building a Christmas town. Applies nail art anyways, right? Hi, Giga. Tell them their nails are horrible and need covered, right? Well, they'll get like, you know, a plain color, but oh, I forgot there's all this new stuff. Oh, there's the winter or the autumn decorations too. I'll have to build like a little neighborhood for each season, apparently. Let's do the chapel. And I guess we'll do the extra clotheslines. Oh, the church would be so cute up here somewhere. I'm gonna put the church over here. And we'll build a little graveyard with it. The overlap of wants nail art and pays for nail services is not always the most. Yeah, exactly. You can convince them to go two-tone for Christmas. Keep the upsale going. Yeah, we don't charge for extra colors though. We just charge for additional art. So if you like say you want one color on one nail and then you want the rest of them to be a color, we don't charge extra for that because it's not really any more time or effort to do that. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. On the same nail? Yeah, I guess if it was like an ombre or something, I would charge extra for that as nail art. Or if they get a French manicure, that costs more. I have this one lady, I'll see her sometime in the next week and a half before Christmas. She gets a French every single time I see her. Hi, Wambat. Welcome in. I lurk now, see you again soon. Okay, thanks for the lurkies. All right, we're gonna do. Where's that pretty? Well, first, let's give the church. The church clearly needs its own Christmas tree. It's what Jesus would want. And then oh no. Do a fence. And then let's do somewhere. Oh, my buttons aren't working. I feel like they were working. Hello, buttons? Well, that's kind of a problem. I can't find the gravestones if I can't use the arrows. They were definitely working earlier. Maybe I'll do a quick little restart. Let's do... Let's do a quick little restart of our save and see... Actually, I'm just going to restart the game. Let's just restart the game altogether. Oh, it's not shutting down all the way up. That took forever. To save to the Steam cloud. Wawa. All right, we're gonna load here. 5. Twisted Sister Christmas. Can't go wrong. Okay. All right, now if I go to here, are my arrows working? They are. That was so weird. Here they are. This arch is not it's kind of like in proportion to the other buildings, I feel like. All right, we'll do this arch. I'll make one instead. A little graveyard. He whistled for Max. Maybe we'll have it go all the way back. And this will go to here. And then I'll have another one go from here to here. Like that. All right, and then we gotta decorate the church. And the arrows stopped working, and there we go. Bum 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 bum. Mistletoe? No, not in the church. That's weird. Maybe some candles. Do 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 do. Oops. Some lighting. Cute. That's cute. All right, we got that. More people needing places to live. All right, our population's starting to get back up there again for available workers, which is good. All right, let's check the research menu. What do we got now? Nothing. Oh, it must be the unlock roads upgrade thing. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. That's stupid. School. That's exciting. All right. Hopefully it'll fit right there in that gap. Wouldn't that be nice? Or we could put the school right next to the pub. So could the Grinch. This is cute though. I'm loving this. We are looking good. Oh, I guess there's not a lot of flowers because, you know, winter and all. Up the chimney. I don't know why this plays like the whole, essentially the whole. Oh, there we go. Let's do, where's that other one I've been listening to? This one. Maybe I'll add some more houses down here. Actually, this would be a good spot for some houses. Just move these trees. Make sure they're not in my way. If I move this tree, I can probably fit one more. All right, and then we'll plop a little road in here. Pathway. Flowers. And trees. And some bushes. There, now I can put people that want flowers down here. But I can't add any more workers. Oh, it's over here. Wrong one. I have 8 things now. Okay, let's do the school. Oh, that's all I can do. Okay. Wow, my artisans have 100% happiness. Public services. Well, I just got this here school. Oh, it's too big. Dang it. I was hoping it would fit in there. Right next to the pub. No. Put it down here at the end. Right next to the church. Across the street from the church. Man, I really wish it fit in that space. I could put it over here. I don't know where to put the school, you guys. I'm gonna put one down here. I feel like next to the government building is safe. Ooh, getting some artifacting, which is weird. Okay, we'll put it here across from the church, and then hopefully I'll get some other buildings to put in between them. Now you have a cute little school. That's cute. Whoa. All right. Everybody has some public services. I'm gonna do like I did with that one. I'm gonna move this back a little. And draw a road connecting it up. Do, do, do. That's too big. Smaller tree. Yeah. That's cute. That's cute. Cool. Let's see what this request is. Could I bother you with a small task? I made this poster for a theater production that's playing in the capital. Oh. It's not technically official. I just love the place so much, I want everyone to see it. Do you think they'll mind? Would you mind? Plastering a bunch of posters on the sides of buildings? Okay. 5 posters. This looks like a good spot. Let's avoid putting it on anyone's house. It's a good spot. Let's go on this side of town. That's a good spot. Here's a nice blank wall. And then maybe one up here in Christmas Town. Hmm. It's gotta be where everyone will see it. Doesn't really fit there. Oh, here we go on the side of the bar. That makes sense. It's kind of hidden in the trees, but it's there. Works for me. Hey, that looks like a fun evening out. If I can afford the round trip and tickets. Yeah, my sister will love this as a birthday gift. What a wonderful poster. I want to tear it off and take it home. Look, people are flocking to the posters already. Now everyone will travel to the capital to see the wonderful play. Wonder if the theater will notice. Will notice me. Thank you for doing this, Mayor. It's everything I dreamed of. Okay. So happy we fulfilled your dreams. Excellent. We can upgrade our city, huh? We can. But first, newspaper stand. Hmm. Oh my god, it's so little and cute. I would have been perfect right there where I put the sitting area. Oh, what about right here where these trees are? That would be cute. Excuse me. Relocating. Yes, perfect. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cute. Yes. A little pathway. I know, we're out of regular people. A single floor house. Well, I don't have any of those. You'll just have to be happy here, I guess. Sorry. Ooh, clothing. Clothing. What about you guys? You don't care where you live. I'm gonna move you here and move you here. Oh wait, there's a ton of single floor homes over here. Time to upgrade you then. Oh, they want to be away from neighbors. I wish I could downgrade it now. Oh well. My bad. Alright, newspaper stands. Oops. Ran out of people again. So you can buy your newspaper and then read it. Do you think you would fit right there in that spot? So close. What's up, Wookie? Hi, kitty. Yes, I hear you. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, meow. Mm-hmm. Bow, 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 bow. And then let's do a little lay back here. We'll do some tables. Let's do some picnic tables. Yeah. All right. Balance. All right, what can we unlock now? Let's do pottery. Once we get everything in here unlocked, we can upgrade our city. I just want to plop everything ahead at first so that I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed with too much stuff that I can do. Okay, let's do another request. Oh, my love. Darling, dearest darling. Our love forbidden twixt the ocean and the stars. Okay. Wait, I didn't. Sorry, what? Let's go out for a romantic picnic. We do have a romantic picnic site in town, right? I'll bring the cucumber sandwiches and lemonade, my love. And I, your mayor, will provide the picnic site. My soul quickens at the thought of romance. I'll see what I can do. This will be so romantic. Okay. Playing Cupid. So we need to set up like a park, I'm assuming. Just like this area. Place flowers, place a picnic table, place a sunshade. Okay. Actually, let's move it over here to the park that we already have. So I already have like half of the stuff right here. Boom. Just have to place a hedge arch. Dang, can I fix that? That looks terrible. That looks better. My little maze. All right. That was easy. I'm swooning with how romantic this picnic is. My forever soulmate. Loveliest of creatures. Let's get married right away. Hark the din of wedding bells resounds across the fertile acres. What the fuck? What? Is that a yes? 1,000 yeses, love of my life. Ooh, cute. That's cute. Alright, I need to build more houses now. I think I do. Maybe I'll keep this road going. Oh, shoot. I had it on the wrong setting. The straight line one. There we go. Then we just bloop. I don't know if I can fit any more back here. No, that would be silly. We'll go this way with it. And then we need our Christmas holly looking bush. And some lights. These ones we're using. And trees. Hello, Red. We're vibing. Cute. Excellent. All right. We can unlock something. Not yet. Almost. Let's do another request. Another one. Psst, Mayor, I have a little problem. I got married recently to my absolute lovely wife, right? Certainly. How could I forget? We loved the whole romantic picnic thing so much, we got hitched right after. Don't get me wrong, I love my darling dearest immensely. But I've noticed she's a little more expressive in her love than I am. Always saying things like, loving stars are we, set in the blazing firmament. The fuck? How can I possibly match that energy? Try something. It's a thought that matters. Just be yourself. Time to embrace the poetic side of your being, sir. Be yourself. That's who she fell for. I just worry that I'm too much of a bore. How about I create a sea of beautiful flowers around our house? Could you please help me with the sea of beautiful flowers? Sure. Oh, geez. Okay. Well. Yes and no. All right. That should be plenty of room. All right. Well, you guys don't have a lot of anything in your house. Like any of you. All right. This is probably going to be overkill. But you know, we don't have ass things around here. You guys get some too. Here we go. My darling, take a look, a gander at this. This undulating sea of blossoms. Such beautiful flowers, my heart swells. But is everything all right, light of my fierce sun? Usually you're a lot more down to earth. I just want to match your enthusiasm, darling. Did I overdo it? You don't have to mirror me. There's enough me in this relationship to go around. I need you to be you, silly. My love. Dewdrop on my trembling petals. Ooh. Picnic basket. Oh, cute. Where is it, though? There it is. You guys should have it. There you go. So cute. Near cliffs. Yeah, they're on a cliff. What about you guys? You don't care where you live, so you can come and live in Christmas Town, and you'll come live here. Excellent. All right, what do we got now? Let's do... Oh, we have to do this pottery somewhere. 3rd floor, I guess. And then we'll do the decorations, and then we'll do the carnival stuff. Ooh, excuse me. Where will this fit here between the school and the pub? It won't fit in there. Ooh, excuse me. Goodness. I got the snizzes. And we'll put the pottery place next to the bar. All right, and then you need a little pathway. Then you need to be decorated for the holiday season. We didn't put any lights over here yet. There we go. All right, and then we'll get our holiday decorations. This would be a good spot for a wreath. Cute. Hmm. Nothing? All right. Another wreath, I guess. Should have a light over here. There's gonna be ads starting soon, you guys, just so you know. Cute. We can decorate this school. You can hang stuff from trees? We didn't know that. Or is it because it thinks it's a building? I think it because it thinks it's part of the asset. Oops, that was the wrong thing to put there. Should go up there. There we go. I want to be an artisan. I think I'm going to put artisan houses here because I don't think anything else is going to fit. Actually, I don't know if they'll fit either. Nothing fits in here. All right, and then you guys have like a little courtyard. And our courtyard needs maybe, I don't know, a sled. There should be a snowman by the school. Yeah, snowman. Cute. That's cute. Ads are over. Welcome back. All right, you want to be an artisan. There you go. All right. Oh, it says we have 5 things we can unlock, but we don't, actually. We only have 1. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Upgrading roads in this game is bad. Aesthetic-wise. I don't like the way it looks after it's upgraded. Alright, I think we got a lot done. This is so cute. I need a good shot of the clock tower and the Christmas tree. Yeah. Yes, more bloom. Cute. No, I think that will be fine. Oops. Super cute. I like the way this turned out. Turned out good. I should actually put a road through here, I think, and break up this stuff. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Okay. Oh. I think that's going to be it for me for tonight, though. You'll save. I love that game so much. EP buns. I am a little EP. I have to work a very long day tomorrow. I don't think I have any breaks. I don't know what I'm gonna eat. We'll see. Let's see if we can find someone to raid. I have some people I'm following that I don't remember following them or why I followed them. Is that weird? Let's go see. Yeah. Let's raid Radar. Is he still sick? What the heck? He's been sick for like 2 months. All right, we're gonna go say hi to Dar. If you're a subby, you can use the first raid call. If you're not a subby, use the second raid call with the Nemo Pops. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back on Friday. I think more Town to City. I don't think I have a collab this week. I think it's the Friday after Christmas we're doing it. We're gonna play more RV there yet. Should be fun. Also, at some point, probably after we're done with the RV there yet, I want to do Castle Crashers. I think that would be fun to play on stream. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for all the love and support. I appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed our little cozy Christmas town build. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Love you. Get the fuck out. Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.